Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everybody. Before I start presenting, let me introduce myself first. My name is Titin Fatima, the cadet of Aerospace Technology High School in Yogyakarta. Today, I'm going to share with you guys some information related to the talks of the English course, which is about my dream country that I want to visit. So I chose South Korea. Before I start presenting, I have one question. Have you ever watched K-drama before? Other than the contents of film, is there anything that interests you? If yes, what is that? Traditional food? Tourism destination? Okay, so I will explain about things that more or less you already know from watching the K-drama. Let's move in the next point. So this is the 6th point that I want to explain about South Korea. First, there is history, culture, custom, traditional food and clothes, public figure and tourism destination. Next, first point is history. South Korea was formed through various events before independence, including the following is: firstly, even before independence, Korean War, foreign division and occupation of Korea, independence, founding of the Republic of Korea, revolution, my military coup, the period of industrialization and economic progress, and then 5th Republic. I will explain one by one. Number 1 is even before independence. The Cairo Declaration of December 1943 by the Allied Alliance of Britain, China and the United States state that Korea will be liberated from Japanese occupation and will become an independent nation. And the next one is Korean War. North Korean threat on June 1915. North Korean troops invaded South Korea from multiple fronts along the 38th parallel. The next point is foreign division and occupation of Korea. What again aroused the anger of the Korean people against the Allies was the Moscow police in December. The next point is independence. On August 1945, Japan declared unconditional surrender to the Allied force, and the independence that the Korean people had long hoped for had finally arrived. The next point is founding of the Republic of Korea. Elections were held on May 1968. On August, the Republic of Korea was legally stabilized. The next point is revolution. On April 1916, students staged a large demonstration in the capital city as a form of protest against the effort of President Salman to remain in office because of fraud in the election that had been conducted on March. The next point is my military coup. Fearing increasing threat from North Korea, General Park Chung-hee launched a military revolution on May 1961. The next point is the period of industrialization and economic progress. Starting in 1962, South Korea carried out its economic plan by borrowing funds from other countries. The first thing to do is to produce goods using the import machines and material for export. The last point is 5th Republic. In 1979, President Park Chung-hee was assigned and the 4th Republic period ended. The next point is about culture of South Korea. Koreans also believe in sincerity and loyalty and follow certain codes of conduct while meeting, eating, praying, and even celebrating. At time when many other cultures will shake hands, Korean bow. They bow as sign of gratitude and respect to the person they are meeting. Despite the political unrest that resulted in the division of region, these two countries still share the same cultures and traditional values. Korea is divided by boundaries but still united by culture. Korea is greatly influenced by the Chinese and Japanese culture. This influence can be seen by Confucianism, which established many traditions that can be seen in modern Korea today. These traditions include the ethical code of conduct in social life and showing respect to the elders and family. The second point is custom. The various customs in South Korea is naming conversation. In South Korea, names operate in the reverse of Western cultures. Family name or surname, a second family name shared by all of the generation, and finally their given name. Next point is meeting and greeting. Bowing is the traditional way to greet in South Korea. Handshake often accompany the bow among men. Your left hand should support your right forearm when shaking hands. Korean women do not always shake hands and might likely not instead of a full bow. Always bow to individual when departing. Next point is communication style. Communication can be complicated in South Korea due to an inherent dislike of saying no, as it is considered for etiquette. The next point is dining and food. Always wait to be seated by your host if given the seat of honor. Looking at the front door, it is polite to demonstrate a slight objection. The next point is visiting home. Always remove your shoes before entering a Korean home. The next point is traditional clothes. Korea's traditional clothes is hanboks, has mentioned its basic traditional features throughout Korea's 5,000 years history, while its style and form have developed in various ways based on the lifestyle, social condition, and aesthetic tastes of the times. History reveals that in general, Korean people in the past tend to prefer simple, white clothes to fancy ones. That's why they were often referred to as the white-clad people. Among their neighbors who admire them for being peaceful people, nonetheless Korea has also had a long tradition of enjoying colorful clothes with complex design depending on the period on the wearer's social status. The next point is traditional foods. The Korean foods that best represent the tradition of fermentation developed in Korea include doenjang, soybean paste, gonjang, soy sauce, gochujang, chilpas, kimchi and jeotgal, fermented fish sauce. The fermentation can take anywhere from several months to several years. For example, there is doenjang jjigae or soybean pesto, kimchi, sojut or salted shrimp, and then there is bibimbap, bulgogi, jeon or pancake, and tteok or rice cake. The next point is public figures. Here are some public figures who have had a rapid impact on South Korea. Firstly, there is BTS. I'm sure most of you must be familiar with BTS, right? Especially the woman here. K-pop can never be separated from the Hallyu phenomenon as a boy band that managed to dominate Billboard Hot 100 through the single Dynamite. BTS has become one of the important figures in South Korea. The second is Kim Yuna. Back in the sport, another figure who is proud and proud of South Korea is a famous guitar named Kim Yuna. And the last is Baekhyun or Lee Sang-hyuk. The man whose real name is Lee Sang-hyuk is one of only two players who have won the League of Legends World Championship for 3 times. The last point is tourism tourism destination in South Korea. Firstly, that is Seoul, the capital of South Korea. Seoul is by far the largest city in South Korea and a major destination in East Asia. And the second is Jeju Island. Off the southern coast of South Korea is Jeju Island, the country's only special autonomous province. So in conclusion, the most dominant reason why South Korea became my dream country is because one of my wish lists is to be able to come and see my favorite K-pop idol concert live, be able to talk to my parents, be able to show my best and tell them that I exist in life as a person they are friends. Secondly, I want to try and feel all things in Korea as I have explained above, but from history, culture, daily habits, traditional food, and most importantly, tourist attraction. Hopefully, my expectations are above not only become a hope, but also become a reality.